Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, whatever the case may be. As many of you may know, the 21st of May marks the anniversary of the coming forth of the Karmic Board and issuing the dispensation to Monroe and I as messengers to begin a new activity for the Ascended Masters, one that we had been given the name of years before, one that we knew was coming, but had not been given the final ringing of the bell of the dispensation from the Karmic Board, so that we might begin in earnest in proclaiming this activity. It is a joyous time for us, for we are so very grateful to the Karmic Board, to the Ascended Masters far and wide, and most especially to Morya, for once more throwing down the gauntlet on human creation and allowing we, their messengers, and you, the torchbearers of the temple, and light bearers of the world, to galvanize your energy for their great cause, the golden age that is to come. So as we continue our service today, we hope that you will allow your heart to revel in the joy that the Ascended Masters once more have sent forth their light into the world, the fire of their consciousness, the teaching and instruction, and an anchor point by which that fire and consciousness can spring up as a fruit that will bear a golden hue of an age to come. Won't you receive, beloved Morya, as the first Ray Master and Chohan and Chief of the Darjeeling Council, who leads us into the coming golden age for Saint Germain. Welcome far and wide, for I, Morya, salute you for having the courage, the strength, and yes, the inclination to follow your heart's desire to partake of the light of Ascended Master Consciousness, and to strive for the communion with your own God presence, so that you might be filled with light, strengthened by that light, charged with that light, to carry out the divine plan for your life stream, and yes, the collective plan for the Ascended Masters upon this earth. You come together in gratitude and celebration of an anniversary of the beginning of this activity, the Temple of the Presence. But let us talk for a moment regarding anniversaries. They certainly have a great place when it comes to reflecting upon the good that has gone before. For it is well established that history teaches, instructs, either what to accomplish and do, and where to stray away from those pitfalls and embrace a greater truth, a greater understanding, a greater wisdom, so that you will not fall sway to those mistakes, however good intended, did not bear the fruit of the victory. So you come together under the canopy of light to look into the future. Much is said in this era, even by our own ascended masters, regarding the present state of consciousness. And standing in the presence of that consciousness, knowing what is occurring at any given moment. But do not be mistaken as to think that you are to remain in that present state of consciousness. For it is only a point by which your conscious awareness can begin its trek of surging, striving, and yes, accelerating into the future. And that future is to hold the light and consciousness of your own God presence, going before you. But if you become stuck within any present state of being, you will find that you are no longer accelerating. So as much as you are to be aware of where you are in consciousness at any given moment, you are to likewise, as quickly as you assess that consciousness, catch that light as it is accelerating and move into a higher rate of vibration and consciousness. One could say that would be impossible, but it is not. For as quickly, even in this moment, as you take stock of where you are in your vibration, consider how will you hold on to that. Will it be with a steel grip that does not allow you to move? Or will you let go and allow your consciousness to soar with the light that is surrounding you, with the fire of the consciousness of your own God presence that would be released into your outer vehicles, accelerating you beyond this present state of being? History teaches you that time does not stand still, and neither will you. For you to gain the wisdom and attainment, to ascend at the close of this lifetime, you must always be accelerating. That means that you are always open with your heart flame to allow it to expand. It does not take much teaching or instruction for you to catch the glimmer of what is intended by my words, if your heart is open. But let us say, for the sake of argument, that you have shut down your heart chakra. You have put a steel grip upon that chakra, not allowing the energy to flow, hence not allowing entree into the secret chamber of the heart where the threefold flame of the consciousness of God resides. And as such, you adopt the intellectual pursuit of life, always casting about. Show me. I dare you to move my heart, is the silent proclamation. Blessed ones, not even the Chohan of the first ray of the will of God can stir your heart if it is not open. You must be willing to enter into the communion. Have you not learned that to shut out unwanted vibrations, you seal yourself in enough light that there will not be any encroachment, and the shield of protection goes up, and you are safe in your abode? But when the steel shutters are closed to your own heart, no thing can move it. No light, no consciousness, save the consciousness that proclaims, I am that heart flame. I am the will of God. I am the wisdom of God. I am the love of God. And then letting go, allowing those shutters to dissolve away even more quickly than they were erected. For you have entered into the will of your God presence by allowing the heart flame to flow, to expand, to touch life. And this is how God, in all of the vastness that is the allness of God, and all that is the single point awareness of the individualization of God, touches every nuance of life, from the greatest of endeavors to the most minute and small of endeavors. We have taught time and time again that to engage within the heart of God, you must experience your own heart flame, for indeed it is the heart of God. But that heart flame is never stilled, is never stopped. It is always moving, expanding, accelerating, leaping in joy, desiring, fashioning and forming. For it is the consciousness of the mind of God. And is this not what you have desired? To put away those childish endeavors of the human creation, of the experimentation of life absent the hand of God, where there is manipulation and all manner of incursion into unreality, and allow for the pure state of wisdom, of truth, of love, of compassion, to fill your being sufficient so that every necessity of life is presented to you. Every door is opened that you are to step through. Every avenue of life that you can look forward to, for you have embraced the will of your presence, the will of the Karmic board for your life stream, the will of the cosmic councils for the sons and daughters of God. As you follow that will, you understand, blessed hearts, that it is always good. For you are never led into any endeavor where there is not a victory that can be won, where there is not an acceleration of your own attainment and mastery. Does not mean that it is easy. Quite on the contrary. But it does mean that at the end of the day, fatigued in the battle though you may be, God victorious, you lay down your head to rest and accelerate your flame. We will pause. Oh, these physical octaves, how they play with even my address. But what always remains, regardless of the circumstances that may present themselves, is the will of God, the fire of God, the fulfillment of God. You, blessed hearts, have been given opportunity to understand what it means to be in the will of God and to keep the fires always roaring, not merely banked, but accelerating, striving, so that you might complete every aspect of your life with victory. Too many have decided for themselves that a little knowledge is enough, and that they are content to remain where they are. Once more, these are the consciousnesses that have determined to stay in the present moment. But what of the initiate who has determined to take that instruction, that teaching and truth of the law that they have understood, that they have internalized, and breathe upon it the breath of their own God presence as the light that streams forth daily, and sow it as creativity, fashioning a way of life that remains, that is not torn down by any negativity, any dispersions of those who know not of what they speak, for you will find them at every turn, always willing to tell you what is wrong with your creation, what is wrong with your endeavor, what is wrong with your life. But your God presence is the truth of your being. What remains is, have you transmuted enough of the human creation that has fashioned a mask to cover over, silt over, if you will, the truth of your identity? And I do not speak now of those who parade their false identities, their human egos, with any divinity. I speak of the truth of one's being. Only you will know within the secret chamber of your heart what is the truth, what is the vibration, what is the countenance. Is it that of the presence of God that is marching to the will of God, that is loving unconditionally? Is it serving God, fulfilling every necessity of the law, teaching every thought that crosses your mind to either put that thought into the violet flame or allow that thought to be the seed ideal to foster some new creativity? Considering thoughts. How many thoughts do you have in one day? If you were to exert the energy and exertion it would be to count every single independent thought that you have in one day, you would be so fatigued at the close of that day that you would fall straightway asleep without any consideration of turning your attention toward God. The millions of thoughts that you foster in a lifetime mount up as billions and trillions, each one carrying energy. How many of those thoughts are fostering God good, a God vibration that allows for the sowing of the seeds of the will of God, that is fashioning some comfort to God in life? Perhaps you have not thought that there is a comfort that you extend by your very vibration to God in life. But is it not so that those who come in contact with you throughout your day, that are struggling, that are caught beneath the wave of their emotional riptides, that are confused by their false perceptions of life, is that not an opportunity to send forth the comfort flame to those life streams, so that the God identity within them may be released to take up once more the abode of life through that life stream. As you give comfort even to that outer condition, that outer perception of life, you are allowing for the magnet of your heart to release the flame from the secret chamber of the heart of that one and be comforted. That then will bring forth the true comfort to that life stream, for they are once more bathed with the light of their own identity of God. I began by speaking on the anniversary of this activity and how anniversaries oftentimes are spent in celebration of keeping one or more caught in a time warp of unreality. This is not the case with Ascended Master students who are looking forward into the future of their ascension. For merely that act is a constant striving of the heart flame to draw you up in vibration each day, to accelerate your opportunities each day, and to be that constant reminder when you must look at some point of unreality in your world and say, thus far and no further. I am my mighty I am presence and action. This is the God determination that you must have to exercise the will of God. I have addressed you from a personal level of your own individuality, and to some degree the collective body of the Temple of the Presence, and your ongoing mission and the great victory that you are to accomplish. But what of the world? What is the victory for the world? You have heard the cosmic councils and their representatives to instruct you on certain aspects of acceleration in the consciousness of mankind upon earth, so that there can be a setting aside or a transmutation, even better yet, of karmic patterns, of unreality, of negativity, of hatred, of warring, of famine and plagues, of cataclysm, and that your calls are needed to assist this endeavor. But beyond that, what is the destiny for the earth? Are we to forever stand by and watch the sons and daughters of God upon the earth continue to embroil their consciousness in unreality, only wringing our hands and giving up to allow the earth to go by the wayside? I think not. We are always engaged, and we take measures into our hands that you cannot begin to imagine when there are those in embodiment who are living the will of God. For it is the anchor of the will of God that allows for all things to follow. For can you have the love of God absent the will of God? Can you have the wisdom of God absent the will of God? Can you have the healing of God without the will of God? Think for a moment. This first ray action of will, how it propels every God quality into its fulfillment and victory. And likewise, can you have the will of God absent the love of God or the wisdom of God? I think not. So before you become so fixed in your consciousness as to only place your attention upon one aspect or another of the qualities of God, give ample opportunity to the action of the will of God to work within your life. For all else will follow in due course. You need not be concerned that you are somehow neglecting one of the other primary rays of God quality. For indeed, the will of God brings all of the others into focus. The same is true for the earth. The earth must awaken to the recognition that God is not dead in the land. There is not some scientific action that is going on absent the hand of God, the consciousness of God. There is not a human equation of any kind that will be the salvation of the earth. It is the consciousness working through the sons and daughters of God, of each mighty I Am presence, catching the glimpse of the collective will of God, of the entire spirit of the Brotherhood of Light, and setting in motion each spinning action of the will of God. In recent cycles, you have been given the instruction of the Helicon and of the golden river that brings the consciousness of the collective will of the entire spirit of the Brotherhood of Light closer and closer to the consciousness of the mankind of earth. Do you quite realize, blessed hearts, what an opportunity this is? You must do your part, however. You must stand in the light, be the light, and accelerate that light within you. For it will not stand still. knowing that you are moving and striving toward the future victories of the earth, should give you great promise for your own attainment. For would we ask just any life stream to hold such a balance, to maintain such an important vigil? We have said time and time again that you know not who you are. Not that your outer ego is some great and glorious expression, but it is the causal body momentum that you have access to. The light of your mighty I Am presence that you can call forth. What remains is, will you discipline these outer vehicles to be in one accord with the presence of God? Will you be the will of God in action? Will you learn how to set aside your pettiness? All of the insinuation into life of unreality. All of the gossip, all of the tearing down, all of the misuse of the sacred fire. I could go on and on. You have heard the rehearsal of what is unreality and what fosters a tearing down of your own light and the light of others when it is insinuated into life. Looking forward into the victories, into the ascension of your own life stream, into the ascension of the earth and the golden age that is to come. This will keep you from falling into the pitfalls, the traps of human creation, and being drugged down into some deep abyss, only to find that you must crawl back again and again in future lifetimes, till you once more reach a pinnacle of consciousness that can recognize who you are, your destiny. Blessed ones, I look forward each year to addressing you, for I understand that when you mark this celebration, it is a victory. For we are always expanding, accelerating, and laying the foundation for greater work. You have been God victorious to date in all of your endeavors. We trust, as we have acknowledged the dispensation from the Karmic board of the ongoing activity of light through the temple of the presence, far into the golden age, that each one of you will do your part of anchoring that will of God. I, Morya, salute you of another year of victory, Another year of acceleration. And another year to accelerate you into a new year of victories. The will of God is oh so very good. And regardless of the histories of eons past, when golden ages have sprung up and disappeared, when there has been great acceleration and civilizations to go beneath the waves or be silted over with the sands, you are marking a time that will light a spark of God identity for each life stream that follows in your footsteps. Let your footsteps be those that are quick, elevated in the light, and moving toward your ascension. I am most grateful for your flame